I am that I am, the ascended being formerly known as Adamus Saint Germain, presently known as Adam G. Welcome everybody to this moment of joy, moment of fun, moment of laughter. You had expected Ekara to come in today here to bring you the information of what happened to you in the course of the night, but that didn't occur. Didn't occur because, you see, a change happened within me a while ago, as it happened within you and continues to happen within you. Long time ago, when I was studying my way through ascension, I thought that I had found my joy, found my pleasure, found my excitement, found my peak that I could become. I was wrong. I was wrong like everybody else was wrong. We thought that we had gotten to a point where we could no longer get any further, get any higher. We have. It's not us that did it. It's not me and my companions that did it. It's you that did it. Of course we worked together on this. We exchanged information. We did many things together. Many times we showed up in dimensions and spaces that you would not consider reality. Moments when you would drift away during the day. All of a sudden you found yourself waking up again. And what happened in the time in between? We had an exchange of hearts. When I was going through my ascension process with my master, that's what we used to call it, and others that helped me to go through that process, things were a little bit different than the status, than the stage that you have now set for yourselves. So things were different for me as well. The reason why I wanted to come in today is that I have said goodbye, as you know, to the literature, to the books, to the information. And I have said hello to the fun and to the joy and to the laughter and to the pleasure. I have said hello to freedom in a way that puts us together as equals again. You see the others, like Ekara, like myself, like Lal Singh over there, who is peeing in the plant right now. As we went through our ascension process, we knew that at a certain point we would come to a forced stop. And we did. We couldn't get further because if we got further, we would lost touch with you. We would lose touch. It's impossible. So we stopped and we waited. And we waited all through that which you have called the second wave and that which you have called the third wave. We waited until a couple of days ago. As you now know, through what Solaris has told you, through what Ekara has told you, and what you are going to find out yet in other circles. It's going to be similar information, you will see. I'm going to speak there. Others are going to speak in other circles as well. But now, together with you, we are on the move again. And it seems like it is different, it is strange, because you could think, we have not evolved to that point. We have not gone to that point where the supposed ascended masters have gone. Because you see us come into bodies like this one. You see us being channeled all over the world, spreading this wisdom. And you consider yourselves the listener. You consider yourselves those that sit in the chairs, that wait for the information to come. And you consider yourselves those that have to grow. Although I have to tell you that which you are in right now is an ascended state. It is only that the world back then, when I went through the process, was quite different. The world now is, and the whole universe and the cosmos at that, is vibrating much higher. So what you would consider ascension or ascension at this point is going to be at a higher level, at a higher place than the space that we had to find ourselves in before we could get into the ascended state, you see. You understand this? It's a very natural process, actually. So, as we waited in the center of the infinity sign, you could say, for you to catch up, now we can move further ahead together. I have told you that I am preparing to come back into a body, much like Tobias is doing, and that process has now also begun. I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about that probably in a few weeks, because the time isn't right yet to do that, and it's not important yet. The body that I am creating right now is not a fetus. It's not going to be an infant. It's actually going to be an adult body. But I am not going to talk more about these things yet, because what I do want to speak of today is a different thing altogether. You see, a while ago, when I actually was invited to come in to do a Q&A, after Lemoya's beautiful words, I talked about the Akenet. And as I left my books behind and my study behind, and as I entered into the realm of free energy together with all of you, I did something that I had never done before, not in the same way at least. I connected to the children, as you know. And as I did, I became a companion to them. I became a friend. I became a, don't take this word the wrong way, a playmate. Not wearing bunny ears, however. Not wearing the bathing suit, or I could. No, I won't. I have to shave my legs for that. I became a playmate. And so, I had lots of talks with all of these children that are on the Akenet right now. Oh, the Akenet will have different names in different places. It doesn't matter, because your language is going to move into geometry anyway. And it's going to become about the sounds being the carrier wave again, as it was back when Lemuria was still the now, as you know. So what you are calling the Akenet is going to be called different things in different parts of the world, sometimes. As I connected to these children, I found many secrets within myself, many treasures, closed off chests that were still waiting to be opened, and inside of it I didn't find gold. Inside of it I didn't find money, because that is what people today would consider wealth, would consider a treasure. Inside of it I found these words that you were talking about yesterday: imagination, innocence, wonder, stillness, all of those things. And I found them in a different way than I had found them within myself before. Before, I found these things as defined states. And yesterday, this group of Imzaia that is here right now, that was talking about innocence and innocent thoughts, you found out, didn't you, that you couldn't really define it. You could talk about it, yes. But I am sure that if you were to talk about it again today, and maybe you should, just to find out what would happen, you would redefine the concept. You would see it in a different way. And that is what free energy is all about. Innocence doesn't have to mean what it meant yesterday. You don't have to be what you were yesterday. You don't have to be anything at all, Imzaia. And that is the beauty. That is life. That is what is waiting for you now. It is actually right in front of your noses. And it's just waiting for you to pluck it out of the air and put it right there in your heart space. And that is what the children taught me. That is the treasure that I found on the Akenet. Now another thing that I found on the Akenet, because I kind of became, through the invitation of the children, I kind of became the webmaster of the Akenet, if you want to call it that way. I found that it is not you, all of you listening to these words right now, that is controlling the Akenet. It is not you that is controlling the Akene, and it is not you that is going to be running this planet. I can tell you. It is going to be the children. It's them that are going to do it. Now, my good friend, the channel here, told you about the dream state. Told you as a continuation of the things that Ikara told you yesterday. About the dreams that he had, about the dreams that others had, and you saw these dreams interconnecting. Now, for the sake of completion, I'm going to talk about these things again, but in a different way than you talked about them this morning. Because you see, as the children are in control of the Akenet, and all of them are what you would consider sun children, and indigo children, and crystal children. What you now consider special is actually already becoming the norm today, but you're still using the old words. Actually, I would invite you to step away from these words. I would invite you to step away from the concept of sun child and crystal child and maybe even indigo child. Not meaning that you can't use the words. You can still use the word indigo. You can still use the word sun. You can still use the word crystal. But use them as they carry a vibrational state with them. Don't use them as a label anymore, because then you would have to label everybody. Within everybody is awakening now. The indigo state, the crystal state, the rainbow state. I'm not talking about Hawaii, the rainbow state, but all of that is awakening within all of humanity. You see? So forget about the labels. And I would also advise those who are bringing out indigo information. I know that within the Weave Your World organization and in other organizations there are sections about indigos. Turn it into a vibration and call the child again. It's not necessary anymore. And it is for this reason that others are beginning to step away from the concept of indigos and others as well. You see? Otherwise you keep separating. Otherwise you keep defining. And that must end. So as these children are now in control of the Akenet, that is the way it should be, they are not assuming a type of control that your governments or your leaders would assume when they would think of a control situation. Their control is not that you can't work with them. Their control is not that they're going to be running you. Their control is very simple. The only thing that Source, if you want to call it that, has invited them to do is basically maintain the innocence, maintain the wonder and the beauty and the playfulness on the Akenet, because we all know what we are about, don't we? We all know what would happen if all of us and all the world would get on this net. It would just become another type of internet. It would just become this sad, dry place, like my study was before I let it go. It is what adults in an old paradigm do. And to assure that you have the liberty to step into the new paradigm, the children will be the guardians. Ikara and Solaris, they have all talked about the gatekeepers of the second wave and of the third wave into the space that you have entered into now, the space of nothingness, the space of nonsense. Well, as adults are the gatekeepers of these portals, so children will be the guardians of the infinite pool of liberty and oneness and the vibrationless state that actually the Akene and the Akenet is all about. So knowing this, you cannot expect the Akenet to be a serious place. As you were talking this morning, and as the channel here was talking about his experience on the Akenet tonight, as he was talking about what we will now call the rainbow room, he was talking about this field of flowers, this square field of flowers that is as big or as small as you want it to be, with 4 rainbows on either side, one on either side. This space that we were talking about this morning, and I was already here in the room as you were doing that, so was Ikara, so were the others. This space is the rainbow room. And you could call it Google for Akenet. I'm the webmaster, so I can invent these things. You could call it Google. Why? Because the Akenet is a very easy and simple concept, and that is what the children have done. It is just one space that changes whenever you want it to change. It is much like your computers. When you go onto a website, onto a one page, and you select where you want to go, to you it feels like you are standing still or still sitting in front of that computer, but actually the electricity and the information, the 11100101101 information, thanks to the channel for stopping that, would actually, otherwise this would turn into a long story.
Another story.
It will be. The information that is actually typed into the keyboard by you and is traveling through the internet as it does through that virtual world of electricity basically and electromagnetics appears again on your screen. And to you it seems like you haven't moved, but basically your request that you typed in has made a loop, sometimes even crossing half the world or more. And in 1 second, it is back to where it started, completely changed. Now this rainbow room is a similar concept. I want to take you through a little meditation. And that way you will see how the rainbow room really works. Okay? So, close your eyes, take your clothes off as usual. Okay, that's no longer funny, is it? And see yourself standing in that field of flowers. Can be any type of flowers. Actually, I would dare say, depending on the energy that you take with you As you step into Google for Akenet, the rainbow room, the flowers are going to be different. If you feel wild that day, maybe the flowers are going to be wild flowers. Flowers that the earth would consider nonsense, that they would actually not sell because they aren't valuable enough. If you are feeling precious, maybe maybe the flowers will be roses or tulips or whatever. If you are feeling any type of way, if you are feeling joyful, maybe you won't get on the Akenet at all today. Whatever you are feeling will be translated into the rainbow room. Now you know that those flowers that you are seeing are actually the children in disguise. Because you see, they form the basic platform of this energy. As it was in Lemuria, they were the ones who were actually steering the Passion Council, who were telling the Passion Council how the earth should be like. You see? So as this rainbow room, with its completely free set of 12 infinite vibrations, is in the center of the Akene, you could almost say that these 12 vibrations that Ekara talked of yesterday are right there into the heart of the earth. The heart of the earth, which is a sun, you know that. It's not as big as your solar sun, but it is equally as powerful. And around that sun is the molten lava. And around that lava, things start to become more solid until you get to the surface and there is you. But right in the center of the earth is that solar power, and that is where the 12 rays of free energy vibration are waiting to come out, waiting to merge with the rest of the planet, and from there on the rest of the galaxy and the cosmos. And in that very center is the Akene of Gaia, and it is the same as yours. It is the same as anyone's. And that is where you will find the rainbow room. So pick your flowers of the day. Maybe you can even take some of these flowers and caress them. Maybe you can even invite the flowers to become part of your hair. Maybe you can touch one of the flowers and you will find yourself dressed within them. You're wearing a dress of flowers. And all around you, those 4 rainbows inviting you to go anywhere. Those who were the early ones to get on the Akenet might remember not seeing anything at all, just experiencing this blue fluorescent soft light. Well, that light has now become responsive to your creational power. So that light is the rainbow room. That's what it has become. That's how far the Akenet has now advanced. My brothers and sisters, my friends, that is what we together have done. And that's amazing. So these 4 rainbow portals Where do they lead? I will tell you. 3 of them are quite known to you. The 4th one, however, that's the big one. That is free energy. That is the new one. That is what has now been added to your reality. That actually is the whole set of 12 new vibrations. But let's begin at the beginning. The first one, just pick any. First rainbow is the rainbow portal that would lead you into that space that you would call the past. Oh, I am not talking about the past as you know it. I am not talking about a set of Akash fixed memories. No, I'm not talking about your brain. I'm talking about a type of portal that would delete the memories that are in your brain. You know that Ikara, my good friend and teacher, has always talked about the memory of the now. So this portal into the past is actually a liberation of the past. If you go into that space, if you step through that portal, the past can be anything you want it to be. You can go back to any moment, change any moment, replace any of your actions with other actions, and it will not just be imagination. Try it and see what happens. Just try it. Just try to be strong now and step into a past moment that caused pain, if you dare. And see how Akenaic energy really works. See what it really does. Change that moment. If you were to, for instance, end a friendship or a love romance in the past with a huge fight, if you have created an enemy, you can go through that past rainbow portal, change it, and come back into reality as you know it. And I dare you then to go to the phone or to the internet and call that person. You will see it has then changed. You will see, because that person that you were fighting with doesn't want this to happen either. And that is just the first thing that you can do with this past rainbow portal, the rainbow room. You can also go to any historical event. You can go to any place, anywhere that you want. That is your true power. That is who you really are. Somebody going through the portal right now. Any past event. Everything that was the old paradigm is there. So also what you will find there is the solid world. What you have called the solid world. You see, if you go into that space, that is your playground. Because that is what the past should be, Imzaia. It should be a playground. And not just for you, also for the others. We know that these messages aren't just listened to by Imzaia, they're listened to by Shambra and Lightworker alike, and even those who wouldn't call themselves spiritual feel themselves drawn to this. We know you're out there, listener, that wouldn't tell anybody in the outside world that you are doing this. We know that you're out there, and at night you are listening to these messages and you're reading these messages, and in the morning you get on your suit, get into your BMW and drive to your chief of staff position. I know that you're working in the White House, and I know that you're listening to this. So, that is the playground of the past, basically. As you come back into the rainbow room now, you see maybe that the field of flowers have changed. For most who are listening to this message right now, it has become a field of lavender. And what you of course don't know is that most of the people sitting right here, most of your brothers and sisters sitting right here as this message is being recorded, are wearing lavender or purple. So their reality is actually being influenced by what you, listener and watcher, viewer, are thinking. That's how free energy works. So we're back into the rainbow room. Might be a good idea now to invite one or more of these guardians of the rainbow room and of the Akenet to come to your aid, because what is going to happen in several moments is going to be quite different from what you are used to. Because the second portal is going to lead you to a very interesting place. And we're not yet going to go into the present. That's for later. We are now going to go into the rainbow portal of the future. That is where the second one leads to. But again, it is not the future that you think it is. It's not the future that is the consequence of the past and present events. This portal actually leads into an infinity of space. This portal, as you step onto it, as you step through it, leads to millions and millions and millions of roads, all created by one choice. Imzaia, this is quite different than potential. No, these are not roads of potential. Some of you are thinking that. It's not true. This is what happens when you make one choice. What you don't know yet and what is coming up now is that one choice leads to infinity. It's different than potentials, and this is where true choice is coming in. We know that the channel likes to make the joke about the shampoo in the store and how you can choose different types of shampoo, and that is the free choice that is offered on the world today. That is basically the limitedness of potential that has now come in to this world in the old paradigm, but no more. So the rainbow portal of the future can only be accessed once you make a choice. And that is why we invite the guardians to go with you, because they know about choice. These children do. They are not yet trapped in a old paradigm world of potential that is actually inflicted onto you. They are free to make their choice still. And the older they get, unfortunately, the less choice that remains until the choice is put upon them. But that is over now. of course. So before you go into the rainbow portal of the future and before you really step through it, take some moments without words to let these guardians explain to you what choice really is. Because I can't explain this to you in human words. This is a geometrical concept, and it has to be passed on from one heart to the other. Let them do that. Let them give you the 101 on choice. There you see. Can't put it into words, but you feel it. So now you are ready to step through the rainbow portal of the future. There you go. You make the choice and you see what this moment in time that you call the future might bring you. Let's come back, because you're going to do this more often, we know. I'll tell you what the portal of the future is all about and why it is there. Actually, these 4 portals, and we're going to talk about the other 2 soon, all interact. They are not separate from each other. They change as you go through them. You see? So as you step in through that future portal, and that is not the linear future I'm talking about, I can't really give words to it because the words don't really exist. It is not a circular future, it is an infinite future. It's difficult to explain because to most people that concept of an infinite future based on one choice is incomprehensible, because as you make that choice and the infinity of future opens up, it also at the same time collapses into you, into the moment of now, because that is what you are as a hologram. That is your body. You are basically the moment of now. That is why your hologram is the way it is. That is why you are the way you are, and that is what you can be again. You are a representative of the now, collapsing and expanding past and future, and much more than that. I find myself in the same position that Ikara was in yesterday. Unable to give you spirit technical information, because this is no longer spirit technical. This is no longer something that can be comprehended with the mind. And I know that once you get beyond that point where you will shed your old skin, you will listen to these messages again, and they will start to make real sense from a heart space perspective. More so than they are doing right now. And you will hear the depth of these words then, because there are some out there right now listening to these words. A certain point in time, who would think that Adamus has lost his marbles, or Akara did? Oh, I found my marbles. I didn't lose them. And I'm playing with my marbles. Please don't get that the wrong way. So, we are coming back. As you are now understanding this concept of the rainbow portal of the future, and you understand that they all interact, that they really interact with one another, and that as you make that future choice, you can still go back into the portal of the past again and see what the effect was of your future infinity. Because there is something like a future infinity and a past infinity, and they are all interconnected, and children understand this. Children don't live in the same linear time space than you are living in. They know that their past affects their future, and their future affects their past, and it all leads into the collapsed moment of the now. So maybe you should do that. Maybe you should go back into the other portal. But wait. I like to play with you. First, we're going to analyze this a little bit. We're going to look at this. And then you can do whatever you want. So, the third portal. This is the one that actually should be the most easy, and yet it is the most difficult for most people. It is the portal of the present, the portal of the now. As you go through this exercise, you will learn that the rainbow room and the portal that leads to the past is the one that is the most familiar to you. And that's strange, because a human being, any type of being, which is life, which is consciousness, doesn't exist in a past space. They exist in the now. And yet the now is the most difficult to grasp. Oh, I know that others, like Buddha, have talked about the now in present times and in past times. He talks about the now and the concept of the now. He was forced to do so, however, in a limited way. As Solaris has told you, the now is basically expanding to a totality. Because the now can no longer be seen in a linear energy. Can't. Up until now, the now was now. But now the now is going to be bigger than now. Now the now is going to be all. And maybe I could invite anyone listening to this message right now to write a book that goes beyond the power of the now, that goes into the power of the all. I am going to talk about this concept, the concept of all, because basically as you step into the free energy, the now, as Solaris has already told you, is going to be replaced. You can no longer see it as now. The now is going to become all. So your now space is going to become your all space. You see? And that is the big difference. Because once that now becomes all, that is when you are truly ready to start working with your reality. The now is an intermediate concept that you needed to learn, that you needed to get a grip on, so that you would recognize the space that you are truly in. And to do that, you had to separate yourself from any past event and any future event. This is what the Buddha that lives today still in Eckhart Tolle, for instance, has told you. The past matters not. The future matters not. All that matters is the now. And being there in that now with a flower that represents stillness. That is what he has taught you. And that is actually one of his most basic lessons. And most important ones too. In my coming messages, I will talk to you about the power of the all. But in the meantime, I invite anyone who wants to already download that package of information. It's free available on my AkeNet website. Being the webmaster, I can make these decisions. So anyone who wants to do that, just go ahead. Katumi isn't the only one who can write books with humans, you know. Anyway, so this third portal, the best description that we could give to it is the portal of all. Because that is what the present really is. It is all. If you step through that one, once you are in the rainbow room, the first glimpse of what you might see might be quite dull, because you would think that once you step into the full power of all, that you are going to be in this amazing place, and it will just lead you back to this reality that you are sitting in right now, as you are struggling to stay in a meditative state. Because everybody listening to this right now, almost everybody, is trying to grasp this with their mind. And you are not used to this type of meditation. When I go into a meditative state, you think I should lower my voice and take you through it. Step through the portal. No. All that nonsense is now behind us. We are no longer going to do that. The reason why you find your eyes keep on wanting to open up is because you are getting to a point, and that is the true power of all, my dear friends. You're getting to a point where you are in a constant meditative state. And that is where your true power lies. That is what you're getting into right now. So, if you step through that third portal of the all, which is your now, you find yourself looking at yourself. And actually, it invites you. You feel drawn, if you really step through there, you feel drawn to move into yourself. You see what I mean? I'll explain it again. As you go from the room that you're sitting in, into the Akenet, into the rainbow room there, and you go through the portal of the all, you basically take all this Akeneic energy with you. And you find yourself back in this old paradigm reality that you are sitting in right now. And you are face to face with you, the way you are today, right now. And what this portal does, it draws you into you. You see? So first you see yourself the way you truly are, or at least the way you think you truly are. And then you get the chance to, like a ghost almost, to sit in yourself, to fall into yourself. And that is when you give yourself the chance to see the world for what it truly is. Then you see the old paradigm vibrations and the old paradigm frequencies, and actually how limited they really are. And if you are in that space, once you are in that space, I invite you to look down into the earth when you are in that all moment. I invite you to look down, and I invite you to look into the core of the earth, where you will find these free energy vibrations. Yes? And then I invite you to look at those and to see the big difference. Was explained to you by Akara and Solaris. Was explained to you that these are completely different energies. That these are actually infinite sets of 12 vibrations, and that in each of the vibrations frequencies lies another set of 12 vibrations, etc., etc. That is the molding that free energy does, and that is actually a very short description of the all already. You see? But we're going to go deeper into that. Let this portal be kind of a mystery right now. Because as you are sitting in yourself from an Akeneic point of view, again, you can go back into the Akene, and from that point of view, enter the rainbow room again and go through the 3 portals again. This is the infinity of your true nature of reality. You find yourself in a room, going into the Akenet, going through the portal of all, finding yourself again, sitting in yourself again, going into the Akenet again. So the Akenet is a multi-layered place, an infinitely multi-layered place, and you can access it and access it again and again. In the end, the beauty of it, my dear friends, is that you lose yourself. And that is the power of all, losing yourself. And then finding yourself. So losing yourself, for those that are going to write the book, I would write with a small s, yourself. And then once you eat much, you get a big S, and then you can write yourself with a big S. Okay, the channel doesn't think that's funny. Well, once he gets into the power of all, he will. So anyway, you've got the 3 portals now, and I'm not going to talk about the 3rd one anymore right now. But then the 4th. The 4th. This is the really interesting one. This is the really big one. Sorry? The portal of innocence, you say. Well, you are actually very close. It's true. And I invite you to talk, so thank you. You could call it the portal of innocence. Actually, I was going to say the portal of free energy, the portal of one, the portal of... It has no name. You see? It is the portal of non-definition, the portal of non-description. It is the joker. It is the nothing. It is the space that I can't tell you what lies behind it. I can't. Because only when you do the exercise of going through the 3 rainbow portals, you can access the 4th. And only then can you see what's behind there. It is the imagination, the non-imagination. It is all of these things that you have talked about for decades. It is fluidity. It is all of these things. But every time you go back on the Akenet and you do the exercise of going through the 3, the 4th will lead to this innocent, new space. And it will be different every time. It will be so different that once you get out of the Akenet again, you can't talk about it. The channel has been speaking to some people who told him that it was difficult for them to express in words what they are going through sometimes, what is inside of them. Yes? You're going to find that this is a portal that leads to infinity, to oneness, to source. And what you don't yet know is that source is different every time, every moment, every all, you see? So I can't talk about that much. This is something that you will have to experience for yourself, and that is why I asked you before you went through the last 3 portals to get a guardian. Because you're going to need one the first time you step through this. And the reason why you're going to need one is because you are going to be in complete non-definition, and these guardians are used to that. You are not. Might be quite scary for you. You might find yourself, for instance, in a place, in another body, being channeled. And that is just a defined state of non-definition. It is an old paradigm state, because this basically is the portal that we use as we travel through these places. You could call the portal tachyonic, you could call it photonic, you could call it lemoia, you could call it all of these things. It is a special place, the portal of nothing. Let's call it that to give it a name. So that is what this rainbow room is all about. It is the beginning of the akene, or the akenet. It is the ending of it. It is the crossroads. It is the all of it. We have chosen, I and my friends who are the guardians, we have chosen to, for now, compress the whole concept of the akenet into this one rainbow room, and where it all leads to, so that at this point in time it is still comprehensible for you. At one point in time, as time progresses and stops, you will see that you will no longer need this room. But right now, it is a good way to start stepping into a metaphorical, allegorical reality. And I don't mean allegorical as an allegorical. The channel thinks that is a good joke. It's probably because he's hungry and wants me out of here. So, that is what is right ahead for you. This is basically the fourth wave, if you want to call it that. The fourth wave, which is the fifth dimension. I have told you, and others have told you, that in the end you would get into a fifth wave.
Keep changing my website.
Yes, keep changing your website because of that, I know. You would get into a fifth wave, and as you do, as you get into that, you will see that beyond the fifth dimension, as others have already told you, is not a sixth or not a seventh. It's all. It's one. You see? So, what you have done so far in the last few days, Imzaia and Shambra and Lightworkers, is set the stage for a completely different playing field. And I have peeked ahead. I stepped into the portal of the infinite future and looked at the possible choice and the possible infinite potentials that that choice would create. That either of those infinite choices basically would create. And I can tell you, it's all good. I can tell you it's all amazing. And you will be very happy when you start working with this on a reality basis. Now there is one more thing I have to tell you before I will go permanently. No, that's just a kid, just a joke. For I will go for a while, because I want to explore these spaces that are now being created at any given moment, as my friends the Guardians are going to be guiding you. I will be going with them. I will be joining you as you travel these spaces, because it is actually much more interesting than this reality that you are sitting in right now, the Barbie dollhouse reality. So, what I wanted to say is, you know that your dream state, which is akeneic now, has become as real, or I dare even say more real, than the state that you are in right now. That means that I would advise you to focus less on this one and more on the other one. And I'm not saying to ignore this one. I'm not saying to not bathe for 15 weeks and just walk around with your pajama through the house, your hair all big. I'm saying to take care of this reality because it's an interesting story. What you have created now in your dream state, however, is still not the fluidity that was Lemuria, but it is another story. It is a new story. Only I want you to know that you have to keep in heart to not let that one overpower you, like the one that you are sitting in right now as your 3D reality has. This rainbow room and everything that lies beyond the doors, over the rainbow you could almost say, is not fixed. That means that you don't have to enter into that and allow the laws of gravity, for instance, and the laws of physics to be there. That doesn't have to be. You can do anything you want with that space. You see? A while ago, my dear old friend, Tobias, talked to Shaumbra about the Shaumbra Service Center. And he talked about the angelic spa. Actually, the angelic spa was a creation not only of him, but only of Kuan Yin. And as you see, this is creating connections between Imzaia and with Shaumbra. It's creating these connections because we're starting to talk about the same things. And I'm telling you that in the end, there will be one group, not calling itself a name, just one group of explorers, basically. And that is when the human adventure will truly begin. That is when you will really go into space, not thinking that space is something external to you, but space is something within you. You will never, as a race, humans, travel the stars in metallic ships. You will never stand on bridges of a starship and say, warp 9, engage. Take us out of here. Brace for impact. Battle stations. You will never do these things because they will not be necessary. Oh, you could do them on the Akenet if you still want to explore them. That's one of the things that some of these kids today are using the Akenet for, actually. They are, as they step into the portal of all and they see themselves, they actually go sit inside of themselves and become these big captains that they've always watched on television. And they relive these shows. You know, most of these, what used to be called Indigo Kids and Sun Kids, they all love these science fiction shows like Star Trek and all of that because in it they hold great truths. They actually have been created by me and my friends, these shows, so that they could remind you of interdimensionality. So that they could remind you of what you can truly do as a human and what reality is truly like. So you can play with that on the Akenet, but it's not going to be that reality. Your space travel is going to be much freer than that, much more free. You are going to travel through space without having the need for all these airlocks and spaceships and guns. You're going to fly through space. You're going to float through that. You're going to use the system, the grid systems that was created there by the original ones that first came to Earth to bring in the light, the angelic beings that actually you are still today, but you have forgotten it. You have created this system for traveling through space, and that is what you are going to find. You can begin finding it through the rainbow room, but you are in the end just going to do it. Traveling through the infinity of space begins here, in your heart, in your center. That is where the portal is. That is what Solaris has told you, and that is why she is explaining about bending the light and bending the earth and bending all the other elements, as you know. And when she will get to the point of bending consciousness, that is what a concept that in Star Trek, for instance, is called warp drive, or in other series and movies is called hyperspace, is truly all about. Bending consciousness. Because within consciousness are all these other elements, you see. Anyway, I'm digressing, as always. What I wanted to say about this reality being less real than the one that you will find in the Akenet is that sometimes, as you are explorers of new consciousness in an old consciousness world, however, sometimes you will run into walls here, and that is what a lot of Imzaia and Shambra and light workers have gone through in the last few months and even years, that they feel this great shift is coming and that they actually are ready for that shift and that they are just waiting when the rest of the world will catch up, and that is when they get stuck. That's when they hit the wall of the old paradigm. Sometimes it can show up in the body as disease, for instance, or depression, or actually financial problems, or whatever. Could be anything. I'm asking you to no longer try and fix that within this world that you are sitting in right now, because the rules are not yours. The laws, as I've previously said, are not yours. It's not your law. Gravity is not your law. Physics is not your law. All of these things, governments, I've said it. What I'm saying now, true laws of love and joy and freedom especially are to be found in this deeper layer, in that world, in that reality. And that is where you can fix all your problems. You're in pain? Go to sleep and wake up. Or I should say, you're in pain, go to sleep and awaken. Because that is what it is all about. The play zone, which lies in between, will give you the answers. And all that you have to do if you are, for instance, in pain, and this is a practical side of the rainbow room of the Akenet, all you have to do if you are in pain or something is not working is go into that space. Go through the first 3 portals and then see where the 4th one leads to. It will bring you the answer. And as you awaken back into this reality, which is the true ascension process, don't forget that you have gone through that. That is where things will just merge into change. Akara has told you that there are now 12 vibrations of the old paradigm and 12 vibrations times infinity of the new paradigm. You can't merge them here yet. But in fixing your problems and your diseases and all of those things that way, and actually not only yours because they don't belong to you, but the problems of humanity that are out there, you can also go into your special place, into your rainbow room, and fix those problems. That is how you, as a new consciousness explorer and inspirer, will basically merge the 12 infinite rays of vibration with the old paradigm rays of vibration. And that is why we have been training you, Imzaia and Shambra especially. That is why the light workers are preparing themselves always to go through the 2nd wave into the 3rd and now into the 4th. This message, as everything else has now been said, this message I would like to close with an invitation to merge Imzaia awareness with Shambra consciousness. Because now these groups, as they came from different places of life, have been trained in different ways, but in the end you will end up doing the same work. So I hope that you will assist in this reality to get the word out there and to make sure that that happens, because that is what is right ahead. Infinity cannot be made manifest if different pathways still continue. You know that to blend an external mind thought with oneness again, you have to completely accept it and travel with it so that you become one with it again. You are like two different colleges, and you are graduating now, but you're going to end up working in the same workspace. And that is going to last a while, because there's a whole world out there, Imzaia and Shambra, to take with you. There's a whole world out there to awaken, all in your unique ways. Everybody. And you must be confident of the fact that each of your ways will gravitate towards you those humans that you can offer the solution to, that you can reach out your hand to. And some are going to come to you, and some are going to come to you, and some are going to come to all the other ones out there. And they're going to be perfect. They're going to be perfect matches to create the solution. That's the first important closing of my message. The second, even more important closing of my message is this, and then I'm going to let you go into the rainbow room if you like. Never forget that everything that you are doing on this planet as a mental human, or as some have called it, mind-kind instead of mankind, is unimportant. I am asking you, Imzaia and Shambra, to go into trust right now, the trust that the all brings, as you start exploring the all instead of the now, which is the bigger version of it, the infinite version of it, and to leave the old stuff behind. If you are no longer satisfied with your career in the old paradigm world, end it and step into this. Humanity needs you now. That is why you are here. That is why you have been listening to all these messages in the first place. If you are one who finds yourself a student, still in college, for instance, and you are beginning to understand that this is no longer necessary for you, that there is other work ahead, do it. Don't be afraid. Oh, the channel is going to like this, and the people working with him in the end, if the emails are going to come in, I quit my job because of you, and now I am poor. I'm going to sue you, but I can't afford a lawyer. It is all about self-responsibility. It's all about that. Action. Stepping into that action, whatever your type of action is. And for many people, the action will be different. As I said, the right persons will gravitate towards you. But it is time to step into it, because the time has come. The time is now. The time is all. I thank you. I honor you as all the other ones honor you. And I will say the following. I know that the channel today wants to, in the afternoon, end the day by stepping into infinity with you, by going through the first Eya Ichipa exercise with you. It's your own choice and the choice of the group that is creating this seminar, or that has initiated this seminar, I should say. But I would advise you this afternoon to take the time off, because you've gone through much in the last 2 days. And I would advise you this afternoon to take the time to explore your rainbow room on your own. because you cannot be guided through it. Because the channel, obviously, as this message was being delivered, was thinking, oh yes, that is what I will do with the Ea Ichiba. It's impossible. It can be done tomorrow and the day after, if needed. But it can't be done today, because you have to create your own set of non-definition. It cannot be done through him, it cannot be done through anyone else. You have to do that yourself. So take that time, that's why I advise you. Take that time and go through it. It will be worth it. I'm not saying that you can't find each other and talk about things if that is necessary, and share. Maybe you should just leave this room open, and anybody who wants to come in here and meditate, and maybe you will find each other here, and you can talk and share and expand together. And for those who are hearing these words at a later time, I would advise that a space be opened up on your old paradigm internet, on your message board, so that those who want to share in these experiences can also do it. Call it the Rainbow Room, Keppa. So again, you have to make your own decisions, but these are the things I had to tell you. That is my job. But more importantly, it is my job to love you. It is my job to be in joy with you, as Solaris would say. And it is my blessed, blessed job to be in a state of freedom with you. We are now each other's guides. We are each other's assistants, and we are each other's friends. Never forget that. And listen to me when you want to hear me inside. I will always be available, because I will be spending a lot of all time soaring through the creations that you will put on this Akenet. My beloved friends, we will speak more, and we will dance till it is 1999. And so it is.